Hello, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. It's our Manchester United versus Real Madrid preview show, plus all the latest transfer news. So where should we start? Well, I suppose we'll start off with Marcus Rashford to Real Madrid, which has come out this morning. I really wish on the show last night, and I must just say, the show last night, I went to bed with a real smile on my face, and it wasn't because I was watching something I shouldn't have been watching on my phone. It was because we had a really good show on the 8 o'clock show last night. It went on for about an hour, and the last half an hour, there was so much interaction. I really enjoyed it, and we tend to do that on the Saturday night show at 8 o'clock, which we'll be doing tonight, so I'm really looking forward to that. But thanks to all of you lot. It was really interactive with the live comments, and I think that's something that we'll need to keep in mind for the future. But Marcus Rashford to Real Madrid. As I said on last night's show, I wish I'd said this. I mean, we were just talking about other stuff and it was in my head to say it. I guarantee you this weekend there will be some big story that the press throw out linking a Manchester United player with Real Madrid or vice versa. We're playing Real Madrid on Sunday night. Papers need to sell papers and get people clicking their websites. It's obvious they're going to do some story, United, Real Madrid, United. De Gea would have been obvious, but it's always mentioned, and I think people have lost a bit of patience with that. So Marcus Rashford fits perfectly. They want Mbappe, they can't get Mbappe, so Marcus Rashford's on the list. I tell you what, you may as well put a reincarnated George Best on the list, because you've got no chance of getting a Manchester United player like Marcus Rashford. You've got more chance of getting George Best. It's not going to happen. Marcus Rashford is not going to leave Manchester United at the moment. He's not going to leave United at the moment to go to Real Madrid. And if they can't get Mbappe for 120 million, I tell you what, start your bidding at about 350 million for Rashford. He's priceless. He's priceless to Manchester United. He won't be going. He won't want to go. We won't let him go. And thinking about it this morning in the shower, funnily enough, again, only thinking about football, nothing like that. Thank you. I just thought, Manchester, is it a point now where Manchester United sort of just say to Real Madrid, as far as we're concerned, you don't exist. We're not going to deal with you. We don't want any of your players, and you're not having any of ours. But obviously, in life, in football, that's not really the way to deal with things. You shouldn't just react to things that you don't like by just pretending it doesn't exist and being petulant like that. The reality is there'll be players and clubs that deal with Real Madrid, and you don't want favouritism. But in the nicest possible way, up yours Real Madrid. You are not having Marcus Rashford. You are not having any of our players this summer is what I would be saying. But you're certainly not that. And I think the press who print it, to be honest, should be ashamed of themselves. They won't be ashamed of themselves, but they should be ashamed of themselves, because there's absolutely nothing in it and no chance of it happening. I just also want to mention as well, I read one of the comments last night. I'm going to come to the team news for the Real Madrid, then we'll go back more into more transfer news. The point I wanted to make was somebody said on the comments from last night, you know, you're always quite consistent on how you don't really rate Fellaini and the midfield's very slow, and you've been a big fan of Carrick, but you feel that, you know, even he's too slow now and United need to rejuvenate that midfield. You're quite critical of Lingard, but you never say sell Lingard. Why is that? But you'd sell Fellaini. I wouldn't sell Jesse Lingard. I think he's a championship player. I think he's a squad player. It frustrates me that he plays so much first team football, because I don't think he'd get anywhere near a Premier League team in the top 6 apart from United in the first team. But as a squad player, I'm more than happy. I don't want to sell Jesse Lingard is the short answer. I think as a squad player, he's very, very useful. He knows the club, and that is useful. I do believe he's a championship player at best. I don't really think he's a Premier League player, certainly not in the top 8. But you know why I keep Jesse Lingard? And I think some people take it as a joke, but actually I'm very, very serious. He's a cheerleader. He's very important in the dressing room. And we talk about Rashford there, and we certainly, you know, Pogba. This is one of their best mates. This is somebody who makes them feel happy at Manchester United. This is somebody who, you know, you see the banter in the videos and everything. And I can imagine people saying now, you can't just keep somebody at United because they're a cheerleader and they get on with everybody. But actually, if you work anywhere you work, you will have somebody, hopefully, who is somebody that brings everybody together, somebody that everybody likes. You know, I wouldn't say the office clown, because not everyone tends to like the office clown, but you know what I mean, somebody that everybody likes, and they may not be the best at whatever it is you do, but without them it wouldn't be quite the same. And I think that is important. You know, we're talking, of course, on the football pitch is where it all matters, but these are multi-millionaires. These clubs are billionaires. There's so much money floating around. If it's robotic, you end up with, well, I know Manchester City have won titles, but they never retain it because they are a robotic club based on money, mercenary players who, you know, they've got no love for Manchester City. They're just there to earn a lot of money. With somebody like Jesse Lingard, who has come through the youth setup, loves the club, loves the fans, you know, he's living the dream. I know some of it can be quite irritating, but, you know, Rashford's his best mate, Pogba's his best mate. They're two of our best players. The camaraderie is fantastic in the dressing room. You see that. To take that away, I think it's almost worth the investment to have that sort of a player in part of the squad. So, you know, he's very young. I don't agree with a lot of the stuff he does, but, you know, I'm sure Rashford and Pogba do stuff that I don't find very funny. That's not a problem. It's what they do on the pitch. But I wouldn't sell Lingard because I think it would disrupt some of our better players' mentality. So I think I like that at Manchester United. So that's why I never say sell Lingard. As much as I don't want him anywhere near the first team, as a squad player, he's very good. Let's talk about the Real Madrid, and then I'm going to take some comments. Look, I will never ever read out comments where people are being abusive, because why should I give you the airtime? I've made that mistake in the past. If you disagree, as some of you do, one, there's no need for abuse. Two, it's my opinion. If you've got a totally different opinion and you would sell Lingard because you don't like him and you don't think he's good enough, I can see that. You know, I'm not saying my opinion's right. I can see that. I don't think he's a particularly great footballer. He shouldn't be anywhere near the first team. I agree with you on that. And if you think that's enough to sell him, that's your opinion. I personally think that it's very important to have a good team camaraderie, and he contributes to that clearly. And, you know, I think Rashford would be more unsettled if Lingard was there. I think Pogba would miss him. So, you know, we are very, very rich, Manchester United. If we're not going to spend money on transfers, then, you know, 80 grand a week or whatever Lingard's on, I'd rather that money was spent on that, keeping a happy and content dressing room, than disrupting it. That's my opinion. I know it's a bit left field, but that is my opinion. There's no need to abuse me about it. It is an opinion. If you think it's different, that's fine. Right, anyway, he's not in the team for this. We're playing Real Madrid Sunday night. It's a 10 o'clock UK kickoff. We'll still be doing Sunday Night Live. That will be at 8:30, and we'll just continue all the way through. We'll do the Sunday Night Live comments as per usual, talking topical stuff, and then around 9 o'clock the team news will come in, and we'll start talking about that and intersperse it with other stuff, and then the game will kick off at 10. We'll go right through. Really looking forward to it. A big Sunday night for United fans on the United stands. But this is my team. Now, you're going to look at it and you go, you've got Carrick and Fellaini in there. What are you doing, Mark? But the reality is, this is a team based on what happened against Manchester City and based on what Mourinho said, where some people will play 60 minutes, some people will play 10, some people will play 30, and then he'll change it around the other way. So, Fellaini, Carrick, Fosu Mensah, Mitchell didn't even play, Twansibi, Bailly, Jones, they didn't start the game. None of these players started the game except for De Gea and Rashford. So that's basically why a lot of these players are in there. Of course, I'd love to see Pogba and Herrera playing, and I would love to see Lukaku playing, and Lindelof and Valencia, etc. But it's about giving everybody game time. Now, whether I would do this, whether Mourinho will actually do this, I don't know, but he sort of hinted that he would. Why would I go to the 3-5-2? Well, I prefer the 3-5-2 to any formation we've played, other than the Man City one, which actually worked well because we had a lot of expansive, quick-on-the-ball players in the midfield and the attacking position, and it worked. We're not going to have that with Carrick and Fellaini. So if we play the 4-3-3 or the 4-4-2, we'll see what happened in the second half when Carrick and Fellaini came on and we don't create anything because we don't move the ball quick enough and we're very static. So how do you counter-attack that with Carrick and Fellaini in the team? Well, you move to a three at the back and you swamp the midfield, and you have people like Fosu Mensah and Mitchell as basically right and left wing backs providing the width. You've got Pereira with the freedom to provide the link between the strikers with Martial and Rashford, and Carrick and Fellaini can just sit. There is a way to use slow midfielders like Carrick and Fellaini, but you can't do it in the 4-3-3 because it makes us unable to bridge the gap between the midfield and the attack. The way around that is to play the 3-5-2 position, where you've got Pereira and Martial sort of providing that gap within that midfield space. Rashford sticks up front, and then either side of them they've got wingers bombing on with Mitchell and Fosu and Mensah. Whether he'd risk that side against Real Madrid, well, you know what? Did it really matter that we beat Manchester City on the other night? Does it really matter if we lose to Real Madrid if we're giving everybody game time? I look at that side. Bailly, Twansebe, Jones is a back three. Fine, fair enough. Smalling and Lingard started and the other day with Blind. Carrick and Fellaini, I think they have to play because they're senior players and they didn't start the other night. Mitchell probably won't play. Maybe he'll play Darmian there. Fosu Mensah, well, Valencia played virtually the whole game, so play Fosu Mensah. Pereira didn't really get much of a cameo, give him a start. Martial came on in the second half, give him a start. Obviously, Rashford did start, but Lukaku played the full game, so maybe give Rashford the run out up front. And I'll be very happy with that team. So it's about giving everybody a chance, isn't it? We've got a game against Real Madrid, which I must discuss. Moses has made a contribution. He says, how dare they? They have the audacity to play with us for Morata, sell him to a rival for cheaper, and come for one of our strikers. Wow, says Moses. I think he's talking about Marcus Rashford to Real Madrid, which I don't really want to give any more airtime to because there's zero chance of it happening. And I think it, is it in the Daily Star or something? So it's probably not going to happen. Let's just dwell on the Real Madrid game, which is tomorrow night, for a moment. So that's the lineup that I think we should go with based on who started the other night and who might start tomorrow. I'd love to see Pereira starting. He's got La Liga experience, and I don't think it'll be a problem for him to play against Real Madrid. I'd like to see Martial starting because he didn't get to start the other game. And as I said, if we're going to pick Carrick and Fellaini, which I think we have to because they didn't start the other game, we've got to swamp that midfield. We can't play them in the 4-3-3. We will just not create anything. Play them in the 3-5-2. And it will work well for United because they've got a lot of players in and around them. I expect Manchester United to beat Real Madrid. Even with that team that I flashed up with you there, whatever team Real Madrid put out, I think that team will beat Real Madrid. For the simple reason, it's their first pre-season game. Their league season doesn't start till the back end of August, so they start later than us. This is our fourth game. Everybody will have played well over 90 minutes now. They've been training for 2 weeks. As we saw with Man City, we're ahead of them in relation to fitness and speed. And I don't think that really excuses Man City getting beaten, because I think even if we were level, we might have beaten them. But with Real Madrid, they're going to be a long way behind us. Their fitness levels won't be the same as ours, so we'll be quicker to the ball. I think we'll be quicker moving the ball, and I think that will be enough to beat us. And to be honest with you, from a totally mercenary, merchandise, expanding the Manchester United brand point of view, it's good if we beat Real Madrid and Barcelona on these tours because it shows the Americans that we're number one, even though behind the scenes it is early pre-season, it doesn't matter. So I do think we'll beat them. I can't really give a score prediction because you never know. I don't think there'll be silly scores. I think maybe 3-1, 3-2 is a good score. But yeah, I'm totally convinced that we can do it, and I think the fitness things will matter. And also they haven't got... I don't think Real Madrid are... I think Real Madrid might win the Champions League this year, but watching them win the Champions League for the last 2 years, I don't think they're an amazing team. I think actually Zidane's got them being a little bit more ruthless and sort of bit Mourinho-esque, really, well organised and sort of hard to break down, because I saw Juventus play them and I thought Juventus for the first 50 minutes in that final were more than capable and arguably the better side, but Real Madrid's ruthlessness and consistency came through. So I don't think Real Madrid are a fantastic side. I think you take Ronaldo out of there, they're a good side, but I'm looking forward to it. I've enjoyed all the US Tour games for different reasons, and I think the next two will be interesting. I think the Man City game was probably the most relevant because it's Premier League opposition, but Real Madrid and Barcelona will be interesting, and I am looking forward to it. The Interceptor says that 90% chance Neymar will leave Barcelona. I've got to say that I think that if we were in for Neymar, we'd know a lot more about it. I think the Glazers are not going to sanction that deal. I think Woodward would like it. I think Mourinho would like it. I think Neymar would probably prefer Manchester United to PSG. But PSG are obviously going to pay the sort of money that only, how do I word this? Only their sort of owners can sort of make happen. There's no way that PSG make the sort of money they're going to pay for Neymar, and I'm talking financial fair play. They just don't make that sort of money. I think United probably make that sort of money, but it would break the bank to do it. I think it's wrong and it's unfair, but let them crack on. We've got another comment here from Kang Klux. He says, I hope Perez is there and Fellaini goes and breaks his legs. That way we stick it to Madrid and Fellaini cements his status as a United legend. So that's from Can Clucks. I think, to be honest with you, mate, if he's going to break Florentino Perez's legs, he's going to have to venture up into the stands to do that. But if he gets anywhere near the pitch side, then yeah, maybe it might happen. Just to give you a little bit of update on the transfer news. So we talked about Matich. Last night's video was fantastic. If you've not watched it, go watch it back. There's a lot of interaction on there. Really enjoy it. Interceptor's happy that he got mentioned. We tried to mention a lot of them. Carl Lee says we're going to smash Real Madrid tomorrow. I do think we'll beat them, and I do think a lot of it comes down to preparation and fitness, but we'll have a good. Luke Burton says I'm going to end up with egg on my face. I don't know what you're talking about, Luke, though. About Neymar? About team selection? About beating Real Madrid? I don't know. If Real Madrid beats us tomorrow night, I'm not going to cry. If we beat Real Madrid tomorrow night, I'm not going to gloat. I can't stand Real Madrid Football Club. I've been very consistent about that. If we beat them 5-0 tomorrow night, I'm not going to do something stupid like go, ha ha ha, but that means we're the best team in the world because we've beaten them in the Champions League. I won't even do that if we beat them in the Super Cup. It's about where you are in May, and fair play to Madrid, they are the best team in the world at the moment. So beating them tomorrow night means about as much as beating Man City the other night. It doesn't make us any better than them. It just means we've beaten them in an exhibition game, which is nice and enjoyable for that moment, but it doesn't mean anything. Right, so the Matich situation, let's talk about the centre defensive midfield position, because there's a little bit of mention about Vidal, but again, it's very, very poor. It's the same as Rashford to Madrid. It's in the star, I think, with Vidal. Apparently Arturo Vidal is unsettled at Bayern Munich. He's 30, he's just turned 30. I don't think he is. I've not heard anything that he wants to leave Bayern Munich and Bayern Munich want to sell him. I think what's happening is they're putting two and two together, and they're getting 5 because Matich is apparently the player that Manchester United want, and we've had a bid of 35 million and 40 million pounds rejected. This is based on the fact that they wanted Lukaku, and we gazumped them, and they're not very happy about that. So they put a tax on the fee for Matich. As a goodwill gesture, they're willing to let Matich go to Manchester United, but they want 50 million for him. Look, Manchester United, I can't be a hypocrite. Manchester United have got the money, so spend the money. But I don't want Matich. And if we spend £50 million on Matich, we are, what's the word? We are open season to be laughed at. He is not worth that amount of money, and we've been absolute. And there's one thing being mugged off by someone like Inter Milan where it really won't impact on us, but giving our rivals £50 million for a player that's worth 30 is just very, very embarrassing. Especially when it's the club that chewed Mourinho out and spat him out. To let them have that sort of power, I would be looking elsewhere, and I would be looking elsewhere anyway. But Matich is apparently the one that we want, and what we pay for him, we'll have to wait and see. Woodward's going to have crunch talks with Mourinho is what the press are building it up. I think in reality, Woodward and Mourinho are going to have a chat about where they are with the transfers. So whether we're going to do any deal this weekend or in the immediate future, as I predicted when we went on the tour, we're probably going to have to wait a few weeks. I don't see us doing any deals probably before the Barcelona game. But we'll come back from the tour after that, and we'll be back in the UK probably a week. We're going to Norway next weekend, play on the Sunday, and then Dublin on the Wednesday. So back around the UK is when I think we might try and do some deals, which is the end of July, isn't it? You know, the season is fast approaching us. So Matich is where we are with Matich. Darmian said that he's probably staying at Manchester United. He's a Manchester United player. I think Darmian quite fancies a move back to Serie A, but with the doubts over the left back, and there is real uncertainty on Luke Shaw. I thought Luke Shaw was sort of back fit and raring to go. Doesn't look like he's going to be ready for the start of the season. So again, I don't know why we're talking about, well, I'll make do with one signing, Mourinho. And I don't know why we were ever only talking about 4, because 4 would be a winger and a centre defensive midfielder. And I look at the squad and I think we need another striker. I think we need a left back because Luke Shaw's not fit. I think we need another midfielder. I think we need another 5 players bringing in, to be honest, based on where we are. Darmian and Blind battling it out for our left-sided position doesn't fill me with massive confidence, to be honest. I think, again, we're looking at a season where we're massively imbalanced, where we've got this beast at right-back who can bomb forward and get back, and he's got lots of power. And then on the left-hand side, we've got 2 players who aren't particularly quick. One isn't particularly great at defending, but he's quite decent with a wand of a left foot in a sense with Blind, and then you've got one who's a better defender, but he's awful going forward in Darmian. We really just don't have balance in our team, and I think Manchester City about to go and sign Mendy from Monaco. is exactly the sort of player we should be in for. But it's so obvious that Mourinho's having to penny pinch and that he hasn't actually got the freedom to go and get the players that he wants to get, because being limited to 4 players, and 4 players is a lot of players to sign, I agree, but we are starting from this position a year ago that we must never forget, that Mourinho took over a squad where Van Gaal had consistently bought bad for 2 years and acquired quite a lot of deadwood players. Mourinho, I think, would have said this summer, I need 6 and I need to get rid of 6 and I'll clear a lot of wages off your bill. I've got rid of Schweinsteiger over 200 grand, Rooney's gone, Zlatan's gone. You know, he's probably saved the club about 1.5 million a week in wages, and he's not getting that backing. We do need a left back. I want the left back to be Luke Shaw, but the injury problems are a problem. And I think we need another striker, and I think we definitely need 2 midfielders. So yeah, so Darmian is going to stay. He has to stay. We just don't have the cover that we need. And we've done about Rashford, we've done about the talks, we've done about Vidal, and we've done about Matich. Eric Dyer is still a name that gets mentioned. If we're paying 50 million for Matich, add 10 million on and get Eric Dyer. I know he's not worth 60 million, but if Matich is 50 million, Dyer is 60 million, and Nainggolan's 200 million. You know, if that's what they're going for. Right, let's have a look at some of your comments. Absolute Garbage is saying that it's breaking news that United offer for Fabinho. I guarantee you it's total nonsense. And it is. What a surprise. The only thing that's going on this morning is about Matich. There's a 90%, yeah, I've done that. 90% chance that Neymar will leave Barcelona, but I'm not hearing anything about United. You know what? A bit like Alexis Sanchez, I will not start saying we've got a chance of signing Neymar or Alexis Sanchez until they're holding up the shirt. Manchester United can do anything. They can do anything. That's one of the things I've always said on the United stand. I would never be totally surprised if we signed Messi, because I think United can do anything. Whether we'll do it is another matter, and I don't get the feeling, and I'm sure a lot of you do, I don't get the feeling that there's much appetite from Manchester United to go out and spend big this summer. I think Mourinho would like to, but I don't feel that United want to. And I think, as we discussed a couple of nights ago, you do this enough and you support United long enough that you realise the tactics of the Glazers are very simple. When we failed and we're in the Europa League, they'll spend big. They did it with Van Gaal, they did it with Mourinho last summer. When we are in the Champions League and we're going to be earning big money from sponsorship and Champions League, they don't want to spend the money. They want to make do. And it's a recurring cycle that, as a football club and fan, you don't quite get it, because you think, well, we're jeopardising putting ourselves back into that position next summer where we're back in the Europa League and you've got to spend big again. And then we'll get back in the Champions League and they won't spend big. And it's that recurring circle that football fans don't really understand, but businessmen understand, because it's always about profits. It's always about, you know, the next 12 months. And last summer they'll have spent big to get the money back on all the sponsorship that they'll now get for being in the Champions League. And this year they don't need to spend big, because they'll be projecting that they get back in the Champions League again and the profits start to go up and up and up. They don't want to spend money is the bottom. They're businessmen. Get Sanchez on loan, sign Matich and Perisic, says Hammond Preet. Presume he's talking about Renato Sanchez. I think he'll go to AC Milan. I'd love him to come to Manchester United. AC Milan are currently beating Bayern Munich 3-0 at half-time during their pre-season friendly, by the way. Kessie and 2 for Cutrone. I think AC Milan are going to be a very big threat in European football in a couple of years' time. They'll be back in the Champions League. I'm all for the Serie A improvements, but I think it's caused United and other clubs a lot of problems this summer, having a club that's just been so aggressive and attacking in relation to their signings. So we will be live at 8 o'clock tonight with more Manchester United, the Saturday Night Live show, where we take a lot of your comments, and I'm sure something will have happened in the day today. So let me just remind you about that. Shaw Akara, who's a Real Madrid fan, he always makes a contribution. It's going to be negative, so I have to read it out. But he makes a contribution, so we have to read it out on the Super Chats. He says, ha ha, Rashford is not world class. When he will be the force, the move like your every player does. Like De Gea, he wants the move, and United has no self-respect. Shaw Akara is a Real Madrid fan, so he thinks that Rashford will end up at Real Madrid. I think Real Madrid. I think Rashford will stay at Manchester United, and he's got the opportunity to break the all-time goal record, which I'd love him to do. I think Perisic, as Damien Dickinson says, will be a Manchester United player at some point. And Chris Bauman says, would you have rather kept Schweinsteiger than get Matich? Look, Schweinsteiger, I disagree with his getting him, but he was 32. Matich is 28. We would have even if we had Schweinsteiger, I would still be saying we need a centre defensive midfielder. The match time tomorrow, Joshua, is 10 o'clock UK time. So if you're somebody who watches the United Stand Sunday night live show at 8:30, you won't miss the match because we'll be live going right the way through. So 8:30 will start. An hour and a half after that, it's kick-off time, and we'll be live for that, so don't worry. Rashford is world class, says your boy. Hashtag United fans only. United in the Stands makes a good point. What do you think about United's number 7 video on Instagram is about? It's to do with corporate membership, I think. We don't even have a number 7 at the moment. So I think we get a bit optimistic, hoping that because United have done this video about the number 7, that it means that we might be signing a number 7. Well, Matich better not be number 7, and I don't think Perisic is good enough to be number 7, so it would mean we're going to sign somebody big. But my interpretation of it is that it's just something to do with membership, and it's not anything to start getting excited about. But there we go. Verratti would be very nice, of course. What time is the game in New York, says Zach. When is the next game, says Milan. So it's Saturday today. It's on Sunday, tomorrow, UK time at 10 o'clock. And how's our third kit, says Mutfield. I don't like the third kit. I like the fact that it's got the Holy Trinity on it, but I don't like the kit. Sanchez maybe the number 7, says Jamie Johnson. Is Mata get a chance to wear the number 10, says Milan Gale. Maybe he does. It's just a number, says Corey Brown. It's the number 7. It's more than that. It's more than that. Also, just want to say as well, I totally forgot. Hopefully, I put it in the video description. I have. The Manchester United. I always say that. The United Stand Fantasy League is now open. We're doing it through the Telegraph. A few of you've joined already. There's a live comment sections within our league, and the banter is already up and running. I think there's about 15 of you signed up already. And the banter's up and running. It's getting quite heated in there in a nice way. People are asking me who I'm playing up front, and I've said you'll see after week 1 when you're looking up to position 1, which you will be all season. I'm going to run away with this, but you know, second place is there to be won, and you're not. You know, my reputation's on the line here. If I don't finish at the top of this league, then you know, even less people are going to think I talk sense. But no, it's going to be good. The United Stand Fantasy League through the Telegraph, which is effectively same as the Premier League in the scoring systems. The reason we've signed up with them is that it allows us to put a bit of money from what we've earned over the summer in there for prizes, monthly prizes, top goal scorer, all sorts of things we've got planned. You can sign up on the link on the video description. There's a private league pin and password for you. It is £10 to enter, which some people have said, well, why aren't you doing it for free? Because we want to give prizes away. We want it to be a select sort of group. We won't get spammers and trolls in there because they won't want to do that. But it works out at less than £1 a month, and there are lots of prizes. We've had issues giving away United shirts last week. It was a real problem. Somebody won it, and then people were like pretending to be that person, and it's hard to verify. We can give the shirts away. We've got 3 to give away, and plus loads of other stuff easily through the Fantasy League. So that's another reason why we've done it for that way as well. So you can sign up for that. As I say, the banter's already running up because there's a live comments section within the league that people can comment in. And yeah, get involved. Looking forward to that. Good, interesting to see who is the number 1 United Stand community manager over the season. But we've got manager of the month and all sorts, so it's going to be good fun. My prediction for tomorrow is 3-2. Jim and Toya631 says, "Is it UK only?" I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so. I'd imagine you can still enter even if you're not in the UK. It's not gambling or anything like that. So I think you should still be able to enter. Give it a go. There shouldn't be any reason why you shouldn't enter outside the UK. It's 10 PM. So I don't know whether people are doing this to sort of make me keep saying it. So 8:30 on a Sunday night, we do the Sunday Night Live show. That's on a Sunday night. That will start at 8:30 on Sunday night, and then at 10 o'clock, an hour and a half after, United kick off. So we're live at Sunday night at 8:30. If you join us for that, you're not going to miss the game, because we're just going to carry on live all the way through till after the game at midnight. We're live tonight at 8 o'clock, Jags. It's 8 o'clock on a Saturday night. Saturday Night Live is basically, we go live and it's all about you on the live comments. Interaction, much like last night, which we all really enjoyed. So be talking about you. Not talking about you, we'll be interacting with you. Thanks everyone for watching. I'll speak to you all later on at 8 o'clock, unless something happens with regards to United during the day. I don't think there is going to be. Woodward's in America, talking with Jose. We're not going to sign anybody. I'd just go off and enjoy your day and see us back at Saturday night with lots of questions ready, I hope. Really looking forward to it. Thanks everybody, and I'll speak to you all very soon.